Well, I'd ask all of you to stand and join me and say the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have the agenda before us. What's your pleasure on the agenda?
Move to approve.
Support.
So I have a motion from Kathy and a support from Mark to approve the agenda. Any additions or corrections? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The agenda is approved. And so now we'll consider the minutes.
Move to approve.
Support.
Okay? Have a motion and a support to approve the minutes of our regular meeting of June the 26th. Any questions or corrections that need to be made to the minutes? If not, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. We'll now review and hopefully approve the bills. Why don't we take the bills first and then the payroll second? I hear a motion to approve the bills.
Move to approve.
Support.
Okay, so I have a motion from Mark and a support from Kathy to approve the bills, and that probably includes the EFTs too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Total of 320,033.99.
okay. Any questions on the bills? Do you want a minute or two to review them?
Looked them all over last night.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Soil and material engineers, $9,000 on Cannon Road just to do testing.
To do the engineering study, yep.
So we need to
It's pretty
remember that
much-
that's a federal aid project.
Yes. It's pretty much always gonna be like 10% of whatever the project is what you're
Right.
expecting engineering to be. Not cheap.
Any other questions? Okay, are we ready to vote? All in favor of the motion to approve the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion is carried.
Do we have three?
We do.
We didn't put any of Bob's.
What was that, Kevin?
We pulled the ones that were in Bob Godfrey's folder and put them in somebody else's, so we had them all.
Where's the third set? Mine don't have anything on them.
No, I don't.
So is there already two right here?
Yeah, I
There's
think
two
it's
sets,
So
there's
what's-
two sets.
just- This is payroll.
Gary, it was on his stack. Oh. Cause there was, oh, Gary's, they're on his stack. His stack of stuff that. So the stuff that was paper clipped for you, Gary, did you get those out of your stack? Cause they were in
They're
that.
laying on the table. There's nothing here that is stamped up in the corner.
In a second.
So meanwhile, back at the range.
Here's our stamp. Here.
No, I
Which one?
didn't see
Here,
anything.
They're on the desk.
Right,
It says you had either.
it's not,
They don't
okay.
trust me to.
they're, hold on, unless Janet,
Well, they had
Put 'em in there.
put them in mine that Parks needed.
Yeah.
And I knew mine weren't stamped, so it's like, okay, where's the third set?
and they might have got stuck in here after we set up.
We found them.
No,
Found them, that's all that
I was
matters.
like, I swear, I had so many.
We did?
We'll get them signed. There they are. Get that thing.
Maybe it's the parent. Janet put 'em in after we set up this one.
Okay. We'll go on with the treasurer's report.
No.
No,
we
we gotta do
gotta-
payroll.
We gotta do payroll.
Okay, yeah, well,
Hold on.
pull back on the reins. Okay, we have the payroll.
Move to pay.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion, by Mike and a support from Kathy to approve the payroll for $128,894.93. Any questions? All in favor of approving the payroll, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Where's the third
Did
one
you
here?
pull the payroll out?
Yeah, the payroll he had. I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
that's just-
We only have two.
there's nothing else in.
Thank you.
I don't know. I know.
Go back that way.
Going around in reverse.
Depends how much way he goes.
As long as-
Reverse,
As long
okay.
as it gets done,
I'm laughing.
it's all the same, right?
It's all the same.
Right here.
Like that, yeah.
Can't read my signature anyway.
Now we can do the treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $2,536,189.08. Total receipts is $764,780.61. Total on bills and payroll is $448,928.92. Bonds and escrow is $10,250. CD reserved for 2 trucks is $682,515.86. Ending available fund balance is $2,159,274.91. Outstanding accounts payable is a credit of $1,401.65.
Any questions on the treasurer's report? Okay, that will stand approved as presented. Any public comment? If you wanna speak, here's your
Yeah,
opportunity.
I do, Gary.
Okay, Jim?
I am still bothered that we haven't got a work agreement. We're going on almost 8 months now. And I know that we've had vacations and now we got a $4,000 bill from the lawyer for negotiating contract. And he's on vacation for a month. So it sounds to me like there's a lot of this friction going on. And it affects the workforce deeply. And I'd like to see some progress on it, and, it seems like to me that Bob's, I don't know, having the lawyer deal with them, and I don't wanna bargain this contract myself in here. This is not the place and time, but I want the board to be aware that we're not getting anywhere. And this is off the contract, this might be in Bob's, manager's report, but according to the guys down on the territorial bridge or tube project, they had a lot of troubles with the compaction, and that actually took them an extra couple days per the outside inspector that we're using now. So you, Bob might have this. Hot, terrifying hot for these guys. No extra, nothing. Don't even want to have a work agreement to help them. And that they can't get the inspections right because of the compaction. I guess the guys said that it was supposed to be 1, and they set the goal at 1, but then it came back that it was supposed to be lower. So they got packing it and packing it and packing it relentlessly, and I don't know what's going on there. Bob probably answer that. And I come here to advocate for the workforce. There ain't nobody else over there going to. I mean, Mike, you've been here a long time. I've bargained a lot of contracts with you. I don't leave these guys out. It's not great for Jim. Gary, I know that you came here, and I was really looking forward to bargaining with you because, you know, you'd had the knowledge that you'd worked with the school board and stuff down there. Kathy and Mark, unfortunately, we didn't get to sit across the table, but I still am looking out for the workforce over there. So, one quick thing, you wanted to know how many teeth because of the maintenance aspect that go on these trucks. And we weld all the blades up through the winter months when they're not using them. There's 4,176 teeth on the grind. That's 4 graders, 40 trucks. Now, we bring the blades in, service them throughout the winter time. I don't know how much they are a piece, but we do not buy the red blades anymore that we used to repetitiously go through. And also with the limestone that they're putting down, there's no way in the world is that flat blades gonna cut that limestone, or even some of our gravels. I mean, you know, our townships are tough on our equipment, very tough. Thank you, I must have dropped for a little while, you guys don't mind.
Thanks, Jim. Anybody else? Public comment? Okay. Well, we're close to the 10:15 time period. I hate to go into the manager's report at this point in time.
I would be okay with letting her, do her presentation now.
Okay. So, today we have Chris Dewey, with us from the Branch St. Joe Hillsdale Health Department. And it's my understanding that she's here to present some information on a safety grant, that will impact all of us, but has special emphasis, I think, on our Amish community. So I'll turn it over to you, Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and the opportunity today, and I will try to be as brief as possible for you. I wanted to basically just give you a high-level overview. I've prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and we will gladly email that to Bob, and he can distribute it to you after the meeting so that you'll have it for your information and follow-up if you want to review it more further. So, the Branch Hillsdale St. Joseph Community Health Agency received a grant from the Office of Highway Safety Planning that started October 1st of 2024. And this grant, the purpose of this grant is to raise awareness in our community around safety when it comes to sharing the roads with the Amish population. And just a little background is that across our 3 counties, according to the Michigan Amish Directory of 2023, approximately 30% of the state of Michigan's Amish population resides within our 3 counties. And as we're all aware, the unfortunate collision of a horse and buggy and a motorized vehicle can cause physical, psychological, injury to all the humans involved and also potentially to the livestock. If we look at the reports from the Michigan State Police Traffic Crash Reporting System data, there were 261 crashes from 2016 to 2023 that were documented as involving Amish, a buggy, horse, or sulky. 78 of that 261 crashes occurred within one of our 3 counties. And during 2019, there were 3 fatalities in the Amish community, and those occurred in Branch County. On average, 25% of the crashes that are noting Amish, buggy, horse, or sulky in any given year will occur within one of our 3 counties. The challenge we have on the data is that there's not specifically a checkbox on the incident report, and so we rely on the officer or the highway patrolman who writes the report. If it's in the narrative, that's how they pick out the incidences that would involve the Amish population. So the goals for this project is to reduce the amount of crashes involving Amish buggies by 15% across the 3 counties by September of this year. And we are also working to increase awareness in our driving community and to work with our road commission partners and the Michigan Department of Transportation to improve the conditions and the improved roadway signage, or when we talk about planning a road project, how do we incorporate some design functions that will support the traffic of the Amish buggy. So these are our activities, and I'm not going to go through them step by step, but we have been working in Hillsdale County with 5 bishops in the Camden area to increase awareness, education, talk with them, collaborate with them, just have conversation. We're also collaborating with the driver's education programs in the 3 counties. We've created a slide deck that specifically talks about driving a motor vehicle around an Amish community and within sharing the road with an Amish horse and buggy. And so we have talked to, I believe, all of the programs now, and we have materials in the hands of almost all of them. So it's a six slide deck, has a pre-evaluation and a post-evaluation that the kids can take with their phone. So hopefully that will help. And we've also been working with the bishops. There's actually a driver's education program that is focused on how to handle a horse and buggy, and we've been working with them to maybe implement that in their community as well. This map, so one of the first things we did was we took the information we received from that Amish directory, and we actually worked with the GIS department in each county to plot for us where does the population live. Now, the Amish directory is a voluntary resource, so we know that this is not inclusive of every Amish household within the county, but these are the households that had reported information to this particular service. So, as you can see, we selected the community that sits there in the Camden, Woodbridge Township, and Upper Amboy Township area to work with first. We also worked with the GIS department to create a jurisdiction crash map. So the information we got from the Michigan Crash Reporting System, we worked with GIS to plot that. And you're not going to be able to see this well at all from here, but there are red dots for the crash sites that we received. When you receive this PowerPoint, the link that's in the corner will take you to the interactive map. On the interactive map, you can click on any one of those dots and it will pull up the data, the date, the time, the road conditions, and what happened, a brief description of what happened from each report. So we've used that to kind of help us to target what areas, what roadways may be something that we would want to look at for additional resources. We also did a community survey. And with this survey, it was a 2-page survey, and basically we were just asking the community different questions, like where do you live? How often do you use different modes of transportation? When you're using that mode of transportation, where are you going? What are some of your concerns about road safety? We received 372 surveys back across the 3 counties. We received 71 surveys from Camden, the Camden area, which I felt was, we only asked for 1 survey per family. So I felt that that was a really high response rate. So here were some of the results from the Hillsdale County group. So of course the animal drawn vehicle is what they use most frequently, walking, and then a bicycle or scooter would be their 3rd most frequently used. Some of the other services that they use would be taxi services, so where they're being driven in a motor vehicle. The reasons for travel in Hillsdale County, they mainly travel for work and school. Those were the most frequent 2 reasons to travel, and they're traveling for work or school at least once a day, sometimes more times per day. Church is the 2nd most frequent reason for travel, and they typically travel for church on a weekly basis. And then shopping and selling goods is the final one, that they travel once a week or once a month. And then we also asked what type of safety equipment they currently use, and would they be willing to look at additional safety equipment. And so you'll see the responses there. The majority say that they have reflective tapes and lights or lanterns. There's a good portion that have turn signals. And there were several that indicated that they are using amber flashing lights. And then when walking, some of them indicated that they'll use a flashlight or a headlamp. Some of their safety concerns, which as we talked through this, were like they have basically the same safety concerns that we do. Aggressive driving, people not paying attention on their cell phones, under the influence, not respecting their turn signals, passing in no passing zones, passing too tightly. They also have concerns around truck traffic, and then sharing the road. In our area, sometimes we have limited or no shoulder available to them, and there was a lot of comment about potholes and poor road conditions. And then they also have concerns when they're on hills and curves, and then, people passing them on the upside of a hill, and that the road is too narrow. So, and all of you have the survey results, hopefully. I had those over there. Could you just, I brought for you the results of the survey. So in that survey, you're also going to see all of their open comments, because at the end we said, tell us anything else you want us to know. And so you now have the survey results, and you have all of the comments from the public. For your perusal, review, you can save it for a rainy day. Use it to apply for grant funding in the future if you so choose. The last thing we had asked them to do, we provided the community this map, and we said, show us where you are most concerned to travel. What roads, what intersections to you are the most concerning? And we did a heat measurement. So anything in red are the roads or intersections that are most concerning to them. And then it goes down to the blue color that you see. So as you're looking at the map, that kind of gives you an indication. And again, that's direct feedback from the community as to what they feel are areas that are dangerous for them. So part of this is to also educate the community, and the Office of Highway Safety Planning took on a marketing campaign called they call Horsepower. We wanted to show the difference between a motor vehicle's horsepower and the fact that you're dealing with 1 horsepower. And there's a very large gap in that. So that's where you have more horsepower, so have more patients came from. And you probably, or hopefully, you saw the billboards. They were posted here in the community. There was one just south of the hospital on Hillsdale Road as you came into town, because I saw it every week when I came into town. I was like, what's a billboard? And there was one out on US 12 as well. They're also doing a social media campaign. So this is just one of the creatives, and again, it's back on this message of you have more horsepower, be patient, share the road. They also did a campaign, if you were at the gas station, you may have seen the video campaign as well, that was, again, with the same messaging.
I've heard the ads on the radio.
Yep, they did radio as well. So we tried, the state tried to do a nice blanket, and I feel like they did a really nice job of getting the message out. So what is next for us? We're working on a driver's manual. that the bishops and we have an advisory committee, and Mr. Bob sits on that committee, Sheriff Hodshire sits on that committee. We have people from the driving schools on the committee. MDOT is at the table, Michigan State University Extension. So all the road commissions have representation, all the sheriff's departments, and we meet on at least quarterly basis just to discuss how we're doing with the grant and what's going on. But here's where we're at with our activities. So we're working on our driver's manual. We hope to have that finalized here in the next month. We're working with the bishops on a driver's education program. As I said, we found a book that is actually from the Amish community. We've shared it with the bishops. They have all expressed an interest in integrating it into their education school. So basically school driver's ed. And the workbook has information and tests and quizzes and activities to help reinforce the driver's culture and driver safety for the children that are of age to drive a buggy. The slide deck, as I discussed, and then we're working with the bishops to talk about what kinds of safety equipment would be agreeable to the community. Our goal here is, again, to work with the community. We're not trying to create any requirements. We're just saying, how can we partner together to be safer? Working with the road commissions and MDOT on project planning and signage. Bob and I and Sheriff Hodshire met with the bishops in Camden to discuss some school zones. So we're looking at potentially putting an enforceable school zone on Camden Road and an informational school zone on Carpenter Road, because those were the two schools that the bishops felt needed the most support. We're also working with the sheriff's departments around enforcement for speed and distracted driving. And the Office of Highway Safety Planning grant that we received opens every year annually. Road commissions and the sheriff's departments are eligible to apply for those grants. So if the road commission would like to apply for a grant for additional signage to put in the community, that is something that you potentially could apply for the OHSP grant to do. Here's the contact information for myself and my team. So Josh Engelhardt and Bella Stoikos are the health educators that work with me. Josh has been the one working with the bishops, and Bella has been the one working on our educational materials and our outreach. I've provided to you guys our rack card. Those have just recently been printed, and we're looking for locations to put those throughout the community for not only the Amish community to see, but the English community as well. So there's an extra pile here. If you have some place where you would be interested in putting some, we would appreciate that. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to take them.
So I have a question. You indicated there was a workbook that you used. Did that come from outside of the area? Did that come possibly from Indiana or Ohio, where they have large Amish communities?
Yeah, so you're referring to the buggy driver's education. Yeah. So actually, we got it from a printer here in Michigan.
Wow.
But when we took it to St. Joseph County, one of the families there had said that they were trained with that book, and it was required they were from the Shipshewana community originally. Okay. And she said, when I was a girl, we all had to take this class. And so it just kind of was fortuitous. I went on a Google search and said, Amish driver or buggy driver's education, and this book popped up, and so I got a copy of it, and I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. So we ordered like 20 some copies, and we took them to the bishops and said, take this book, look it over. When we come back for our visit with you next month, let us know what you think. And so when Josh returned for his next monthly visit, the community was like, we love this book. We're gonna do it. I'm like, okay. So that is encouraging. And the same thing with the driver's education slides. We took it to the driver's education directors and said, here's some slides that we've worked with OHSP to approve. What do you think? Would it be something you would use? Because all of the drivers that are being trained in our area should know what to do around horse and buggy and what's the closure rate. So the slide deck talks about you basically have 6 seconds or less to react. Because if you're doing 55. If you're over 55 miles an hour, your time frame has just decreased exponentially, right? So we're just trying to raise the awareness to the driving community of, we just need to be aware and watch for that road sign. And when you see that road sign, what should you be doing? So.
Any other questions for Chris?
Yeah, see, in the study, it says that there's a resistance from the Amish community to have safety equipment.
So I think what we have to bear in mind is the survey was one of the very first things we did. Relationship building has to happen. And as we've been building relationship, it's becoming a little bit more open. We're able to have conversations about what is it that you feel the community could do to improve safety. And they've identified things that they're willing to do. So I think we just have to bear in mind that when that was taken, it was before we actually were able to build a more rapport. And I think over time, we're gonna see some progress, but it's gonna take time. And yeah.
Because it isn't fair to motorists that they can't see the Amish.
Well, and I think if you've driven in the Camden area, I've seen a change.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more yellow amber flasher lights. I'm seeing more red tail lights. I'm seeing more white lights on the front. So I think that, again, it's sitting down and saying that we know that there's an issue. How do we work together to address it? We're not trying to change your belief system or your culture. We're just trying to find ways that we can work together. And if we can educate the motorist community that when you see the horse and buggy sign, you need to be aware and take some steps to drive safely in that area. And as if you're driving a horse and buggy, you need to take some safety precautions as well. Make sure that you have battery power for those lights. Make sure those lights are on. As we talk with them, we find that the things that they're concerned about are the same things we're concerned about, right? When we're on the road, we're concerned about who's on their cell phone and not paying attention, who's under the influence that might be weaving in the road. How do I get out of the way if something's coming at me? So we have a lot more in common than we do differences, and we're just trying to work with the community to figure out strategies to help us all be safe and share the road together.
There's a large Amish community east of North Adams now, and I've noticed that they have switched over to the LED lighting on their buggies at night, which is a great help.
Yes. Yeah, and again, we're just trying to have conversation and raise awareness, but we're leaving it up to the community to make those changes. We're not forcing anyone to make changes, but we are offering to them if there's something. So for example, when we've been working with the group in St. Joseph County, they have lots of lighting, they have enclosed buggies, they have slow moving vehicle signs. Michigan Department of Transportation is planning a project on M86 and M66. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with St. Joe County, but that is a very highly traveled Amish area. And they're going to be putting buggy lanes on 86 between 66 and Centerville, which is very highly traveled.
Yeah.
And it's only gonna be a 6-foot lane because they can't get 8 feet. But we were able to connect the designer for that project with the bishops. And they had a conversation about rumble lanes versus mumble lanes versus where do we put it? Is it inside, outside? Where is it gonna work? To me, that's a huge win because now we've opened that conversation door and the suggestions from the community are now going to be integrated into the design of that road. Awesome. So that's really our whole goal is just to have some conversation and let's talk about it, advocate for, how do we work together to improve the road conditions and improve safety for the community as a whole. Because nobody wants to hit a vehicle. Nobody wants to hit a buggy. I don't want to hit a buggy. That's traumatizing. I may not get physically injured, but the emotional toll that it takes on a human when they strike another human and see that aftermath, it's devastating. And so how do we create an environment where we can all work together to be safe?
So I have a question for you. Have you been able to make any progress in the California community in Branch County because, you know, I have a brother-in-law and sister who live in that area. Our daughter and her family live in that area, and I know that they're probably the most, I'm gonna use the word conservative of all of the Amish communities, and the ones that I see so far have the least use of lights and so forth to
Yeah.
let people know.
You know, I think we are working with 5 bishops in Branch County as well. And we are working in that Algansett, California area. And we've had lots of conversation and we continue to work with that community. And they haven't shut the door to us. It's just that we're still working to identify what we can do together. And they acknowledge that the safety issue is shared, right? It's a shared issue. And the community has been very, have expressed to us and to Josh when he meets with them how appreciative they are that we're doing this work and how they appreciate the voice and they appreciate the opportunity to just have conversation. And so I believe we will make progress. It may not be as quickly and expeditiously as we would like, but they haven't shut the door.
Well,
So
that's
as
good to
long as
hear.
we can continue to have conversation, I think we can continue to make progress. So.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for your time and
Thank
your
you.
attention, and if there's anything I can do to assist as you move forward, and again, I really do appreciate your participation on the advisory committee and helping us to move things forward.
Thank you, Chris.
It was a very good presentation. I appreciate you coming out there, coming to let them know what's going on. I've seen a big, you know, when this first started, I gotta be honest with you, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, well, we'll see what this is going to be. But I've seen a significant change in, I guess I can't say the English drivers, but I have seen a change in a lot of the Amish communities as to what they're doing and what they're accepting is to help the vision issue. So it's at least helping, I guess. And if it can go, this grant is basically aimed at education and that kind of stuff. And if it can go a step farther to start into, like you said, the road design and cost for that, great. I mean, they do it in some parts of the state, usually it's MDOT roads, because MDOT can afford to help do
Well,
that.
and so another thing for consideration is the Safe Streets for All program. So there's the opportunity for you to apply for a grant to, 1, make the plan, right? And then 2, for implementation of that plan. And so some of our commission, like St. Joseph County Commission, they've done their plan. So when we met with them last week, we talked about, you know, now that you have some additional data directly from the community, you may be able to use that as you move forward with additional projects. Again, I understand how much it costs to do a road project, trust me, I do. As township elected, I know how much we pay to get a project done. I'm not saying that I wanna see a buggy lane on every road project you do, but what I am saying is where we can and where we have the opportunity to make incremental change and to help in whatever way, it would behoove us to try to work together to make that happen, so.
Well, appreciate you coming in.
I want the change to last beyond the grant dollars, right?
Sure.
Cause that was the question asked in the last one was, well, what happens when your grant runs out? I said, my hope is that the things that we are doing are gonna stick. If we can continue to have the driver's education programs use that education and the Amish community use that education and the road commissions to consider where is the population, what changes can we make, those are all long-term solutions. It doesn't matter if I'm here to do that work, if we create an environment where we're already thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we move to manager's comments.
Okay, well, let's see. Yep. I'll start off with some of the projects that Heather and projects that we're working on has got. There's really nothing new to report as far as like the Elm Road structure and the Buckeye and the Bird Lake Road structure. We're still waiting on some design engineering and stuff for the Buckeye and Bird Lake. We're waiting on, like Dan still just hear back from Eagle on the Elm Road structure. But we haven't got anything new from the last update.
You mentioned Bird Lake, I guess
There's a Bird Lake Road, there's a culvert, and Buckeye west of Bird Lake Road culvert, and Somerset Road north of Stewart Road.
Okay, so it's actually the culvert's on Buckeye Road.
Yeah, sorry, yes, Buckeye and Somerset.
Yeah, okay.
So, then we've also got a few structures that we're looking at that's kind of just on the radar to keep an eye on. We got Frontier Road, south of Burt Road, that's in Woodbridge Township. We got Tamarack Road east of 99 in Ransom. And we got Bacon Road east of Rumsey Road in Adams Township. So they're kind of on our radar, watching them, and we've submitted the review to Eagle for the Bacon Road. But we're still trying to schedule a site review for the other two, probably later this fall. A proposal we'll probably send out for design engineering for the replacement of those three once we kind of get those site reviews scheduled. On the federal aid projects for 2025, which is the Concord Herring in Jonesville. Let's see if I got it. So we've been talking with the contractor, and they're basically telling us right now that they're gonna try to work farthest away from the plant and work their way towards the plant, which is, it's Lakeland over and Battle Creek. So basically that would say Concord Road's gonna get done first, then Jonesville Road, then Herring Road. And so they'll kind of work their way back towards where they're from. And as we get more info on that, we've drawn out like the milling spots on Concord Road so far, and then we'll just move on to Jonesville. If you get a call that there's a big sign 4x8 sheet of plywood on Jonesville Road with right to work stuff and everything on it, that is from the contractor. That's one of their requirements. So their people are, it's kind of like we've got them in all of our buildings posted on a bulletin board. They've got to put it out there that's their work site. So that'll be out there while they're doing this project, and when they're done, they'll take it down. But it's really just a makeshift bulletin board for their workers to have that information out there for them while they're working. Okay, so tentatively, they're looking at doing, because we got to do some milling on Concord Road where it's curb and gutter coming up to US 12. There may be a couple spots on some of the other roads where we got to mill, just to take out some bad spots first, but we plan on milling starting the 14th, the 14th and 16th to take care of that, then do mainline paving the week of the 21st. Then do shoulders the 30th, 31st, and then replace and raise the monument boxes August 1st through the 3rd. Pavement markings the 4th through the 9th, and then the whole thing should be complete August 16th.
This is on what now?
Well, that's for the Concord, Jonesville and Herring Road.
Oh,
So like I said, they'll start with Concord, and then just they'll do the milling that they need to do there, and more likely, then the paving stuff will start. The milling will go to the Jonesville and do whatever milling they need to do there, and it just kind of everything will follow. This schedule here is mainly aimed at Concord Road, but the completion should be for all of them. Maybe not. I'll have to ask Heather if that's just for the Concord Road to be complete, but let's see. For bridge maintenance, Albright is the contractor that we got to complete the repairs. We gave them 9 structures that had deficiencies on them. They've repaired 2 of them. North Adams Road, about 7/10 of a mile west of US 27, and Moscow Road, about a half mile south of Struble Road, that they've repaired. They plan on returning the fourth week or the last week of July, to start Hartley Road, Likely Road, and Pittsburgh Road, north of Hartley, to work on those two structures. And they'll just keep working to repair those structures. Most of it's concrete work, you know, whether it's been hit or, you know, it's falling apart or whatever, so they're rebuilding and fixing the concrete. Let's see. As far as Monte Carlo Drive with Amboy Township, went down and looked at some of the work that Blaine's done on his area. It's shaped where it's not gonna come out onto the road. I'm gonna ask him to do a little bit more, and when they have stuff dumped, like he's got a sign there saying he'll take free fill. And as apparently whoever is just dumping the dirt there, that could actually force water around that and pushes it out towards the road a little bit before it gets back to where it needs to go. So I'm gonna have them put that farther in. But as they start filling in, it'll just go away from the road. So right now, I'm out there like right after actually during a rain and nothing's running out onto the road on either road. But I would like to see it a little more sloped as it goes down the hill on the Sellers.
Well, just a comment I would make is from the intersection of, I think is it East Diane Drive and Sellers Road, going south. There needs
Down
to
East Diane.
be, there needs to be a ditch down through there. There is no ditch there.
Well, it does slope away from the road. It doesn't necessarily have to have a ditch.
Not very much.
It does, Gary. I went out there, but
Well,
the other thing that still needs to be fixed is the phone company's gotta come out and raise that foam pad, because right now it's kind of in a hole. And then it goes down East Diane, so they're gonna raise that, fill that in level, and at that point, all the water, it'll go there. Nothing comes out on the road.
I was at Amboy Township Board meeting last night, and the people who live in that area don't believe that the ditch is adequate.
Is there water on the road?
There's the potential to be water on the road.
No.
The-
There's potential for water on the road on almost any road we got. But
on Sellers, I would agree, he finally has done better on Sellers, but on East Diane Drive,
actually, I'm more concerned with Sellers than Diane. Once the phone company gets that, and I see what gets done with what they do, and then how he blends into it, I think it'll be okay. It's gonna go right into his pond. Sellers, I wanna see us a little more slope away from the road, but for the most part though, like I said, I was out there in a heavy downpour, and absolutely no water was coming out to the road. And that's the purpose of it. So anyway, that's the first part of that. The second part is we've done up a letter that we're sending to the township to get their approval, which will then in turn get sent to the residents of Monte Carlo to see if there's interest in doing a special assessment to do the whole thing at one time. Because right now, Blaine is wanting to have it, you know, rebuilt and, you know, culvert or two put in and paved up past his property, which is probably about a quarter of that loop. But while we're there, we wanna see if we can just get it all done at one time. If there's interest, then we'll start building a more detailed assessment to then do a special assessment. We'll see how that goes. So we've sent the letter to the township, we're waiting on their reply so that we can then send it out to the residents, and we'll go from there. Let's see, we've got the tree contractor that we started using is Reach Out. They've completed like 18 of the locations we've asked them to do. We got a couple different lists that we gave a first list. They pretty much got most of that done, plus a couple off of the second list already. They seem to be doing a good job and taking care of the stumps, and we haven't had any complaints or issues, and they've been working pretty good with us. I will be probably coming back to you. We're gonna do some figuring as to I think when we originally talked about that, I threw out a $30,000, the Kathy told me that it wasn't enough, she's right. So I'll come up with a better number. We're not even, we're about a third of the way there. We're probably at the 10 range. So probably be asking to get about the same amount of money as we're doing with the grass cutting. And so that kind of two different things can go at the same time. Let's see, jumping around here a little bit. The Camden Road, Pittsburgh to Trip project is complete. The stump drain that the road commission, or the drain commission's working on, and MDOT, they're potentially looking at they're originally at the end of July, but now they're talking mid-July for the closure for M99.
Mid-July?
It was originally slated for the end of July, and so now they're,
Well, today's the 10th.
so probably sometime next week.
Sometime next week.
So,
Well, when Kevin gave us his report last meeting, he said that the contractor was supposed to start earlier, but he was a little delayed.
well, and so this was the last thing I got today from Heather, was that potentially instead of the end of July, now it's the mid-July, so.
Okay.
We'll work with Matt, make sure we got any information we can get from him.
So you're gonna have to put up signage for the detour.
They will. We don't, that's not us.
Okay, so the state will contract with somebody to put up.
That'll be all part of the whole project.
Yep.
Other than he's already taken care of Camden Road, the downstream portions, now they're doing that, though, that's all part of the project. The Herring Drain, nothing new there. Litchfield and 49 is planned on being the first part of August. Let's see. Again, jumping around a little bit, I'm gonna get rid of these here. So, I've been talking with the vendor, and eventually I'll ask for probably a bid to go out. But our maps are totally outdated. They don't show a lot of information I think that they need to. And so this is a vendor that'll set up and design and print maps for us. They sent me a bunch of, different things. This is like Keweenaw County, and this is a little more expensive book, but you can get a few of them if you wanted to, like that. And then they've got all kinds of different maps, and it shows like different ways of putting the information on it and things like that. And they work right with you to tweak the map, through revisions, and then once you figure out exactly what you want, then they can print them up. In the future, I just wanted to let you guys know that we've got those, and I'm going to be asking to get some new maps here shortly. That's more just an informational thing for you right now. All right, so on to what the crews are doing out there. We're paving. We've got a lot of the paving done. Next week, Monday, I believe we're going to start on the Eden Road cutoff, which is down between Territorial and 49. So they're going to try to get that done. I don't know if they'll get it done on Monday, but there's 750 ton that lay there to do an overlay on that stretch. Then we'll move on to, we got Lime Lake, Day Road, Burt Road. We're working with the township, and I believe I've got to go down to their township meeting Monday, and we're going to talk to them about that. I briefly talked with Bob Godfrey about it, but they're asking if their board approves to do it, would our board be amenable to letting them spread their payments out over 3 years? So very, very rough estimates is going to be like 38 to 40,000 a year would be their payment. And so they'd have to do that for 3 years to pay. If we went in and did a 1.5-inch overlay on the entire mile stretch of road and then chip sealed and fogged it, that's what it would come out to. And there's evidently interest from their board to do it, maybe not all of them, and that's why they need to talk about it at their next board meeting.
is this?
Ransom. So I'm gonna go talk with them, answer any questions on Monday, see if they have interest in doing it, or the board elects to do it, but I told them I would ask you at this meeting, so I could go Monday to say, if you were to approve this project, the road board is saying that they would be willing to look at spreading the payment over 3 years. And so I guess I would need kind of I don't know if it needs to be a vote, but maybe a thumbs up, a thumbs down, that are you even willing to entertain that before they even talk about it on Monday?
Well, I'm in favor of it, as long as they're willing to provide some financial information, you know, that they can make that work. I mean, you and I had this discussion earlier.
And I kind of agree with that. You know, I know they've always been fairly tight down there. I'm not sure where this money would or could come from, but I think we need to see their financial reports to tell us it's there or will be there before we go and.
I tend to think that they have a chunk of money, that of COVID money that they have not spent. That's where I think some of it is. And the prior supervisor, he wasn't interested in putting any of that into roads.
Well, apparently there is interest now.
Yes, I know there is. Well,
So-
it was expressed here when they met with us back in January.
Yep. But then and we have a contract with them to basically do half of it. We got a contract to do 500 tons, and then we actually sent them another one to add another 200. But what we told them is that basically would get you half the road at 500, maybe almost 3/4 of the road at 700, but at 1100 or so, we could do the entire road. And so that's where that progression come up, and they were like, all right, well, give us some numbers. So we did rough numbers, and so that's where that came from. So they don't want to do what they quote unquote say a half job or a partial job. They want it to be done, you know, and which I gotta agree with. But I think if we tell them we're good with that, as long as we can see some financial data that tells us that you'll be able to pay us.
And for those of you who don't live in that part of the county, Burt Road from M99 east goes to a very popular cemetery, the Evergreen Cemetery on Burt Road. And so you have people from both Ohio and Michigan who use that cemetery extensively. And when I first came on the road commission, the manager we had at that point in time wanted to turn this mile of blacktop road back to gravel. Well, I can guarantee you that met with tremendous opposition. And it's largely because of the cemetery issue.
So this project does include doing some pulverization, like spot, kind of like what we did on Jerome, where we did some on Jerome and then Walworth. So it's gonna have some spot milling, but then it'll cap the entire thing.
Yeah.
And which mile of Burt Road are we doing, or did I think
It's,
about doing?
it's between Bird Lake and Trill. The first mile from 99 to Bird Lake is a primary road. Then from there on east, it's all local road. And the township spent a fair bit of money a few years ago on the mile from Tripp to Gilbert Road. And that's the mile that the cemetery is about in the middle of that mile.
I take it this just kind of connects it all together.
It does, absolutely.
So, like I said, apparently there's interest within at least some of the board. They're gonna have to make a decision, but they wanted to understand to see if it was even, do they even need to worry about it if this board isn't willing to spread.
Well, I'm of the opinion that they will provide some financial, like, to us. Go ahead.
3 years?
I know we've done 2 for like a couple things. Have we ever done a 3?
Well, this year we're doing Scipio for 3-year contract
Okay,
for,
so,
and we've done 2 in the past for other ones, and I think they even Moscow a couple of years ago for Brown.
Alan for
The bridge.
Bridge for
So,
2.
alright, so,
And I think if we were to go, prior to some of you that are here now, there've been times in the past that may have gone 3 years before too.
and I would be okay with that, cause prices aren't gonna get any cheaper. So if you did part of it this year, part of it next year, part of it the next year,
Right.
price is just gonna go up as you go. If you get it all done at the price now, it's gonna be the cheapest. Alright, so I can go back on Monday and tell them that you'd be willing to do that, as long as they can show some financial data. Okay, appreciate that. I think I sent y'all an update, but just to clarify, the Territorial Road culvert was completed on the 3rd, so it was back open to traffic before the 4th of July weekend. That's part of what we still get paver patched in once we let the traffic compact that a little bit more, and then we'll patch it in as we're coming through the paper. The scraping for the brine is complete, and the brine should be complete today or tomorrow. They're in Wright Township right now, which is the last township. So that'll complete the brine for the first round of brine. We're talking about trying to start the second round of brine probably around the 18th of, either the 11th or 18th of August. There's only 6 townships that have asked for a second brine, so that one won't take as long. And hopefully that'll get them through.
How many townships asked?
6.
Okay, 6, thank you.
There's been some concern that there was some roads that was missed.
There was a couple here and there, and we go back, call them, say, hey, did you hit this road? No, they've come back out and sprayed a few of them. The first hiccup was going through reading. They did all the reading and then kept moving on, but apparently, that we didn't know at the time, they didn't do any of the little lake roads, because it takes a small truck they can't take the big tanker in there and do those. And until we got a call from one of the residents saying, hey, you did all these other roads, why aren't ours done? I'm like, they are. They're like, no, they're not. So we went out and took a look, and then we give them a call and said, okay, you need to get a small truck out here and get those lake routes done, and when you say township done, the township needs to be done. And so then they got on board with that. And they were basically about a week behind us when we ended up, straight to the last township when they're gonna be done. The first half took a little longer than what we'd like. The second half, they caught up and pretty much almost caught up to us. But,
Excuse me a moment, I need to interrupt. I've gotta take a break. So, do you want me to hand the chair over to Mike till I can get back here, or we just wanna take a 5-minute break?
We can take a 5-minute break, so that's up to the board.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you. So we'll proceed.
All right. Let's see. So the brining, like I said, should be wrapped up today or tomorrow. For the first round, and that'll be done. They're out spreading the spot gravel, because this year we reversed it. We did the brine first, and now we're doing the spot gravel. So far they've completed Camden, Reading, Litchfield, Scipio. Allen didn't have any. Hillsdale, Fayette are all complete. And they're working on Cambria, Woodbridge, and Amboy right now to start looking. Just kind of make that same zigzag pattern that the brine did.
So can I just jump in and ask a question about that? So let's, like Camden and Reading, we did those 2 first with the spot gravel. So shortly after we spread that, do we follow on the heels with that with our brine truck and cover those areas?
Yep.
Good.
And so far, I think that's working good. The driver's saying it's spreading good. easy to do. We just had our tank filled back up again yesterday or the day before. With another 10,000 gallons of.
I came to in.
So that seems to be working good. The fuel pumps, we finally got the bid all done. We're putting the advertisement out. It's gonna go out today. And we're gonna have it open on the August 14th meeting at 10:15. And we'll see how that goes. We've got about 5 different companies that we just sent the bid directly to, along with putting it on MIDA. And it'll be on, the website and all that for people to bid on. We'll see what we get, and hopefully it's doesn't break the bank. But those fuel pumps have to get fixed, replaced, prior to this plow season. We can't afford to have our pumps go down in the middle of the season like that. But, so more to come on that. The Bivens Road, the abandonment is officially abandoned, closed off. They put a berm across it. We put signs up that says, we put road dead end on the road up by 12 to let people turn around at the dead end, and then road end signs at the berm. So, and then the contractors starting the work to start, doing the ditching, widening, fixing all the driveways. We've been working with them a little bit on what we expect with all that. So far it seems to be doing good. I've talked to a couple of residents out there, and the one that I haven't really talked to a whole lot, she called yesterday and she was just tickled pink about it. She says, if I'd have known this, I'd have asked you to close that road a long time ago. I bet.
Well, that's good.
So, as we get going on that and get that all fixed up, hopefully the residents are happier. We've got August 2nd, which is a Saturday, is the Tetsa truck. I believe it's at the fairground. Is it?
I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
Is that?
So we're gonna I think send 2 pieces, which is one of our normal plow trucks that we normally do, and then I think we're gonna try to send the gray doll with 2 operators to let kids
Look them over.
touch the truck. So that's like a 4-hour window that they'll be there with, equipment from all over the county probably, fire trucks and all that kind of stuff. But just so you know, so if you see two of our pieces of equipment at the fairground on Saturday, the August 2nd,
Who's taking them over?
that will have to be posted and
Posted, our supervisors can't take them over?
no.
Why, how is that in the contract? It seems
They're
on this
bid
demonstration,
pieces of equipment.
Bit of equipment,
but it's not for work.
don't matter.
They're using it.
Thank you.
That's not an avenue I want to go down.
Yeah, that's a fact. We can't even get our contract signed or ratified, let alone.
All right, so that's
Sure, there.
lastly, I will address, I won't say I'll address, but I'll talk about the contract. We are still in the middle of mediation. Meetings have been tried to be set up for one reason or another. Different sides have declined those meetings, and I'm not gonna comment on where that's at, because a part of our agreement that we signed at the beginning of negotiations says that nobody, either side, will go to the public or the news without 24 hours notice to the other side. So with that, I have nothing new to tell you, and if I did, it would be a closed session, and that's where I'm gonna leave it. So with that, if you got questions, I'll be more than happy to take them.
I have a couple things. Are you aware that the lights, and I don't know if there's a gate, but I know at least lights have finally been put on the railroad track crossing west of Montgomery on McCollum Road?
I'm accountant. I didn't know that they were done yet, but that was the.
Chris Dewey told me that last night at the Camden Township Board meeting. It happened sometime in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that study was done like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
To get that done.
So,
And so they are looking at other ones that we'll be doing studies on that have that skew.
Yeah.
Just like that.
and that one clearly needed to be done.
Yeah, there's a couple of them around the county that are,
And so then that leads me to, I know that the Camden board, they really would like to see that half a mile from, on McCallum, from the west side of Montgomery to the county line, would like to see that paved.
that is on the list. It really depends on how far we get down the list, how much we spent on paving. It is right up towards the top there.
And then, so at the Amboy meeting, there was a couple that lived somewhere in the eastern part of Amboy Township, and of course, they very concerned about Territorial Road. And especially at the curves there at the south end of Lake Diane. And, you know, I know that the road is bad from M99 clear to 49. Actually clear to the state line. But this lady pointed out how bad the road is around the curves there at the south end of Lake Diane. And of course, I left Amboy Township Board meeting and I went to the Camden Township Board meeting and I traveled that road. And in my opinion, we really need to paver patch those curves this year. We go through another winter like we just had, and that's the same thing will happen there, like happened at, in Adams Township with, Jerome Road.
In Somerset Township.
Or maybe, okay, I don't know, whichever township it was.
Yeah, Somerset.
But, and, you know, with all of the traffic Territorial Road gets, truck traffic and all kinds of traffic, yeah, those curves are getting pretty dangerous. The road's falling apart.
Well, Territorial is one of them. I don't want to say, I'm not sure about that part. It's Coke to 49.
Yeah, no, this is,
That's the other,
this is
down
east
to
of 49,
yeah.
5 or 6 miles. This is, if you look on your, well, you don't have a map in front of you.
I know what you're talking about.
It's right at the south end of Lake Diane.
Yep.
In Woodbridge?
No, it's in
Oh,
Amboy.
Woodbridge, okay.
It's in Amboy.
Yeah, well, Woodbridge Road is on the west side of the lake, so the curve starts there.
So we'll be on Territorial doing some paving. We'll have to try to see what we can schedule in there.
Yeah.
Just so you know, probably Camden Road from the village to Carpenter, and Lilac Road and Territorial will be the main ones that we're concentrating on.
Lilac Road,
That was scheduled to be done last year, and we had to push it back to
oh,
last year.
yes, yeah, I know what you're saying now. That's from Cambria to Hillsdale.
So I'll add that onto the Territorial list.
Okay.
Actually, you aren't too far from there if you're going to Carpenter Road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll be in the area.
Cambria Township gave us a big thumbs up for Bear Lake Road with the limestone you put on it.
Mm-hmm.
They were really well pleased.
Heard a lot from people.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Bob? Okay, old business says discuss dumpster quotes. What do we have?
Well, it got tabled from last meeting. I did reach out to the other ones. I never got a definite answer. I sent emails, called, never got anything back. Why they couldn't do it. So I don't know. We did get that one quote from Stevenson. I don't have, I have my notes from last time.
did I remember right that contract runs out?
It runs out, I believe, in, was it September? But this is the one we also have to send to the state for them to approve too, so we gotta give enough time to do all that.
We only got one quote, didn't we?
And we only received one quote.
Yeah.
And it wasn't outrageous.
Mm-mm. Was it 250? I would have to go grab all the quote information, so I can give you exactly.
Right.
Well, I've got some chicken scratching here, if I can.
I know I have chicken
Decipher.
scratch, but I sometimes can't read mine. I can go grab it if you'd like.
Would you please?
You'd think there's more competition in the waste business than that.
There isn't though. It's not
told-
down here. Some other areas, yeah, you get 4 or 5 companies buying for it, but
I told you, Mark, 2 weeks ago, it was a golden opportunity for you.
I got enough trash right to home, I don't need to go pick another piece up. I haul mine down to Jefferson landfill, or transfer station, and it goes from there, so. Yes, it is.
Here's a little summary of it all, but I can read it off their sheet. But I'm gonna read it off their sheet.
alright, so it looks like furnace 1, 20-yard roll-off dumpster for roadside cleanup. Quantity is 14 pulls. Oh, they didn't put nothing on there, they'll take it then, okay. Delivery fee of $100, monthly maintenance fee of $95 a month.
There it is.
The trucking is $230 per haul, and the dumpster cost is $55 per ton, 2-ton minimum.
And that was Stevenson?
Stevenson disposal.
And so,
Where are they out of?
so what's this one here then? 'Cause this one's,
This one, no, it's,
Well, and it's
Where's
not,
Stevenson
it's not far off from what we're paying now.
Didn't
No.
somebody say they were from like, Sunapee or-
I have Petersburg, Michigan right
Petersburg,
now.
to Ottawa Lake, which is
which is
closer.
western Monroe County?
Over by Lenawee.
okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
this,
right on the
wait,
line,
wait,
Monroe County line.
that I read off to you is on the blue page, which is actually for the MDOT pickup, so the MDOT that has to approve that one. For ours is an 8-yard dumpster, with 24 pickups, basically 2 a month. At $253 a month, which comes out to $6,072
here.
for 24.
It's a 2-year contract, that's why it's 24.
Oh, is it? Okay, once a month? For 2 years, okay. Yeah, it does say that. So it's just a hair over 3,000 a year.
Well, we really don't have a choice.
Right, we got no choice.
What
You
does the
only get one
manager
bid.
recommend?
I would recommend you approve that.
Okay,
I would accept Stevens' disposal bid for dumpster for both the MDOT and the road.
Second.
so I got a motion from Mark and a support from Mike to accept Stevenson's bid for the dumpsters. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's approved. Any other old business? Do we have any new business to come before the board?
We have to discuss the July 31st meeting.
You're correct.
My understanding is that meeting was changed, because I erased the old meeting on my book and put the new one down. But for some reason, the powers that be weren't there, and there's other noise that we haven't actually officially changed the meeting. my understanding it was officially changed.
Well, we can make it official right now.
Yeah, that's all we need.
So, I would accept a motion that we, move our last, meeting in July to the 31st at 10 o'clock.
Support.
I prefer somebody else make that a motion rather than the
Oh.
chairman make it.
You said you were moving, that's why I supported your motion.
Oh.
That's exactly what he said.
I'll move that we change the meeting.
Oh, Kathy will support it, okay. Okay, I like that better.
So we're going to the 30th then?
The 31st.
31st.
1 week later.
Yeah. So a motion from Mark and a support from Kathy to move our
Well,
meeting in July to the 31st of July.
just a minute,
10
just a
o'clock.
minute, we gotta do something about the parks too.
Well, I know, we gotta talk about parks too, but that's not part of this motion.
No.
And there's, a motion is not required to move the meeting. So I can just do a public notice
For
for the
parks,
park
she's talking about.
and post it, and I could have just done it for road too instead of a motion, but there's motion.
Well, we have a motion on the
Yeah.
floor. We'll go ahead with it.
Yep.
So. And any discussion, I would just say that at least 2 of us are gonna be gone on the 24th. That's the reason we're moving the meeting. So, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's approved. Now it's official.
Okay, now, I know it's not parks meeting, but you're being on notice that you need to change parks meeting
Yes,
to
yes.
the 31st, okay.
I got one last thing I forgot about to tell you. Back a little while ago, we purchased that hydro seeder.
Yeah.
So we've been out using that. We got a huge load of the mulch, the seed, the fertilizer, all that goes along with it. And so to create space to put it and keep it in a dry environment, I approved the purchase of a 40-foot Conex box. It's like $2,000 some. That'll get put next to the storage shed out back, and all that stuff will get put in there and locked up and keep it safe, secure, and dry.
So this is, it's a big storage unit.
It kind of looks like the big crap tank that's out there, but it just got doors on it, and it should ship them all over the world.
Is it round or square like a
Square.
pod?
It's just like you see a truck sending down the road.
Rectangular, really.
Rectangular,
It's not square.
right.
So it's 40 foot long, the size of a normal semi-trailer.
Yeah.
So that we can store all that in.
Is this brand new or used?
Now it's used. Brand new ones are in the 8,000 to 9,000 range, that's just 2,000.
And it's not leaking, no holes?
Nope,
What kind of maintenance on that thing?
very low. A padlock.
Serious? Headlock, perfect.
It's just solid, they'll drop it on the ground, we put it where it wants to go, level it up, and that's where it's gonna sit.
Okay.
For its eternity.
Shipping containers.
Okay, any other new business? I'll open the floor then for public comment.
Yeah, a little bit more on this collective bargaining agreement. Bob has acknowledged that it has expired. But we also need to get back to the table in order to be able to make it any more progress. We've had a lot of good workers. He has excelled in getting us some good young workers. You know, I won't cut him too bad out, but he does not really excel in taking care of the existing workforce. We have a good young workforce. We got good workers, good families. The MERS, now that we have a younger workforce and us older guys are on our way out, our MERS liability will be a lot less because of the long term that they'll be here and stuff. So that's any constellation, you know. Thank you guys.
Thank you. John, do you?
Yeah, my turn.
Yeah.
Gotta get my knees working. A couple of things. One, the ditch that we did, saved into my driveway, the guy cut it wrong. And you go up the hill on, Minor, to 34, the ditch, I'm not an engineer, but I don't think water's supposed to run backwards. So what it's doing was, when they go up the hill, it's going down into the ditch. And a lot of it's laying right at the end of the pavement that comes down. And when you grade, all it does is it floods back. I'm not totally worried about that, it's not coming onto my property, but the ditch now is just full of weeds and cattails, and it's keeping it from going into the pond river.
Where's that at?
Minor Road, right at the end.
And so this is in Pittsburgh Township?
Yes, and it's not affecting me anymore. Before it all flooded my yard and eroded my drive, it's not doing that.
So it's near 34, right?
It's crossroads would be Jerome. Jerome 30, what?
Jerome and Minor, or?
Well, the road, Jerome crosses here, Minor comes in on an angle.
Okay.
Okay. The ditch there they put in, that's not very deep. I'm not so concerned about that. My concern is if they'll crown that, or either crown it or cut that back a little bit so that water runs into the ditch more than it does now. It's totally, and put that on to-do list sometime.
Bob Godfrey knows right where it is.
Sure, and I'm just saying it's just getting worse and worse and far better than it used to be. Second thing is, this morning or yesterday, the road, what you call it, CHOP, is that the name of the people? They're excellent workers. I left because I needed to get here. There seems to be some confusion about what we're gonna do with the wood. Now, I was told they were gonna come in and trim the top trees. They said they wanted to get more sunshine on the road. I don't know. But the second thing is, I was told they weren't gonna do any cutting for whatever reason, no complaints. Well, I had one of the trees that I had marked, fell across Minor Road, blocked it. Okay, these guys aren't doing anything, so I had it taken care of. I mean, if you've been down Minor, you go down up the hill and stuff, you talk about, hang on. So, Saunders and Mordinsky's and stuff needed a way to get out, so it was cleared out. All they got left's a stump. So, what I'm asking is, what do I do with the wood? Do I have to be in control of the wood from this new tree that they're dropping in my yard? If I don't want it?
I think all the tree crews say, or the tree forms say that the wood will be left for we'll take the brush and stuff and chip it up.
Yeah,
but the wood will be left for the property owner.
But when I read the secondary part of that, it said that it's possible. So am I misreading? I'll go back and reread it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not
How long
complaining.
ago did you put that one in, do you know? The request to have the trees taken out?
Okay, a couple years ago.
Okay. Alright.
What's that?
He said, yes, they were a couple years old.
Yeah, a couple years old, and then they came and said, we're not doing it anymore.
And we're looking at that same area? You're talking, it's the same area you're talking about the ditching and
Yeah,
the trees and
yeah,
stuff?
but it had nothing to do with the trees.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. What I'm saying is though, if I took care of one, if it was across the road, does it matter? Whether I cleaned up on the road and the far side of the road, at no cost to you guys. Can we trade?
So they dropped the tree and left it?
No, the storm dropped the tree.
Okay.
The storm dropped the tree.
I thought you were saying that.
No, these guys are good. They'll probably be done by the time we get back.
Yeah, we worried now for a minute there.
No, we're good.
Alright.
Time out here. No technical fouls. Let's just keep it going. Okay? And you're too big for me to fight and the guns in the truck, so we're not gonna do that. All I was wondering if we could trade. I mean, I took care of it at no cost to you guys, because we're paying these guys to come take care of those streets.
Okay.
I said, no, if we can
I'll
make
have
a
to go out
trade.
there and take a look at that and see what they do to clean it up.
Well, they'll probably be done. They came yesterday and got it partway done.
Mhm.
And then I was thinking, well,
But you're saying you don't want the wood?
no,
Okay, well, that's what I meant, I'll have them
take a look at
see
it.
if we can,
See what we can do, because like I said, I took care of a 70-foot tree
okay,
at no expense.
okay.
Now, if I need to, I'll pay for stumping the tree.
They'll do the stump too.
Okay, I was gonna say, if that's on me, I'll do that.
Is that in your mowed yard, is it in a fence row, is it?
No, it's right on the road.
Where the stump's at?
It'd still be in the easement, I think.
Okay, but is it in a mowed part of your yard, or is it just in
You
a fence
tear that
row?
sucker up, I don't care.
Okay. Okay,
Okay?
alright,
I don't care. All right?
alright,
Thank you. Let me know how we can work this out, and I appreciate it. And on that ditch thing, sometime, okay?
okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Excuse me, sir. You guys have a blessed day.
I'm glad he brought up about a ditch. When I went to Hillsdale, Jack McLean told me there's a driveway that they put in, Bacon, just west of Spring Street. And I see where whoever did it, they put riprap in the ditch. So water ain't gonna go down there.
I don't know the address or
No, I didn't
just
get.
Bacon west of Spring.
Yeah, it's just, well, they got them great big tall weeds there growing. And the driveway goes right up between those. Yeah, it's just, but it knows actually just back.
Go right in that.
Yeah, right around the street, just west of Spring Street.
I'll look at it.
Jack McLean cornered me when I was leaving, wanted me to know about that. In Hillsdale Township, the clerk said we did a fine job on their driveway there. Where
That's good.
buried the plane.
The new culvert.
Over.
Okay,
One other item, on Mills Road, that caution sign for House Neck Road,
The
in
light?
the light, yes.
Yep.
Is that on your list to get
Yep.
fixed?
I think they've got a part on order for that.
Okay, cause it's been out quite some time and I've been been trying to remember to mention it, and I have forgotten, so.
I had a lady call the other day and when I looked at it, that's what it is they gotta have a part where this is bad. I think it's the controller actually.
Okay. Okay,
That suffers
So not-
vandalism often too, doesn't it?
I was gonna say.
A lot of times, but it doesn't appear to be.
Okay,
I think it just failed.
burn out.
Alright.
Cause the other one's working fine.
Yes.
There's no like
Yes.
sign of tampering or anything like that. Usually you see the sign out,
Yeah.
pulled apart.
Okay, good. Good.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no other business. Move.
Support.
I have a motion from Mike, support from Mark to adjourn this meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are adjourned.